Lauren Brooks and Taylor Dahl.
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Talk about a Friday, y'all.
Woo! I love some Fridays out here at Kia on Atlantic.
Right.
Yeah, I love that the showroom is massive, and it feels very good in here because it was hot, and I'm still working on getting that AC fixed, which I finally am getting it fixed next week, thank goodness. But, yeah, we're out here on Kia on Atlantic. I mentioned to Tony, swing by, say hello. We have several prizes we're going to give away. We already gave away our first set of free tires to the first Kia owner, so we have one more. If you drive a Kia, swing by, say hello. But we'll be giving away lots of other prizes, including Jags tickets, tire alignments, free oil changes, all of that stuff out here on Kia on Atlantic just before Kernan Boulevard if you're headed out to the beach.
Not only am I impressed that Taylor Dahl knows all that off the top of the dome, but also, again, the fact that you have gone how many months, how many years without AC?
It's been a year without AC.
In your car. God bless you.
Our producer or our engineer, Max, went about a year without AC also. 2 years without AC.
How do you people do that? We live in Florida, for crying out loud.
I literally turn my car on before I get in it for
Yeah,
like a solid
same.
minute to let that air cool down. I was with a friend yesterday who drives a Kia, and she was like, her husband was like, you need to go today to come see Lauren and get some new tires. And she was like, I just got new tires.
Oh, no.
I literally just got new tires. I was like, well, you can still come on by. But yeah, we're going to have a great day out here. So Mia, last night I learned to pronounce Derek LeBlanc. It's not LeBlanc. LeBlanc is how you say.
Was that included in the? Where did I miss that?
In the hunt.
Yeah, I don't remember that part.
That part isn't in it.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I'm like, what did I miss? Like,
did we
that
try
was
and
not
figure
my. That was far from my biggest takeaway from 38 minutes. But okay, continue, Lauren.
Just how excited people are about the assistant defensive line coach. And so naturally, the first thing I do when I don't know something or I don't know a lot about someone, the first thing I do is Google them. And that's when I learned how to pronounce the last name. It's not LeBlanc like you would expect it to be. It's LeBlanc.
Okay, so we didn't miss that in the hunt. Cool. What else did the folks who haven't watched yet, what did they miss, Lauren?
I mean, to me, it's just a lot about Travis Hunter. And as somebody joked on Twitter, like all the other rookies must kind of be like, well, we're just out here like blowing
We're
in the
here
wind.
too.
Yeah, and I do wonder if you're outside of Jacksonville and you're not working in sports, can you name a Jaguar rookie other than Travis Hunter, do you think?
No.
If you're in Wichita,
No.
like, can they name any of the other Jaguars rookies?
I mean,
No.
they maybe heard Bashal too, and just
No.
because that's like trendy fantasy football. So if like you're in the weeds, but if you're a random
Well, that's
fan,
no.
if you're a
A
random
fan,
yeah.
I don't
not
think you
naming.
can.
No.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
I
sad for
think
those guys.
most NFL fans in general, like unless you are in the weeds with your team, you'll maybe be able to say like the first and second round player that you drafted, and outside of that, people kind of start not paying as much attention on the later days in the draft, and then you start finding that out in training camp when some of these names start popping out or something like that. But if you're not, nobody, I don't. But Travis Hunter was the big thing, and that's what it is. And then you didn't have a second-round pick, so that kind of had a long space of time before people even heard the Jaguars call another name also.
I also think you could go to any of the other 31 NFL fan bases and say, oh, can you tell me, like here, Taylor, tell me someone who the Seattle Seahawks picked.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Outside of what
Right.
you are covering, most time it's the first, second pick that you can kind of register, and that's about it.
But here is the thing, and our friend John Daly yesterday with Greg Rosenthal. Needless to say, because you drafted Travis Hunter, you did not draft someone else among the first-round picks in this year's NFL draft. All of a sudden, that moves the needle to where it is commonplace for any fan of any team to know who the Jaguars drafted, if it's only their first-round pick.
Yeah.
Do you think there are Jaguars fans who don't know who Travis Hunter is?
No.
I don't think there's NFL fans.
I asked someone with a Jaguars hat on, what do you think of Travis Hunter? And he responded, who is that?
So he's just a rando then. Who
He just doesn't pay as close of attention.
no,
and so
that means he just has the Jaguars hat on because it looks cool, Lauren. Let's be real.
I know
Yeah,
the person. He roots for the Jags. He just hasn't paid attention that closely. But that's why
wild.
it's interesting. I like to look at it at all.
You should have
angles for
followed
that
up with like, name me a Jaguar.
I didn't want to embarrass the person, you know. I felt like I'd already
name
embarrassed
one
the person.
single Jaguar.
But yeah, so the bigger point is the Hunt debuted season 6 last night, and you do get that really unique inside all-access look into the minds of guys like Tony Baselli, James Gladstone, in how they wanted to get Travis Hunter, how that conversation came about. And to me, the most important thing, and this is from a personal side, James Gladstone multiple times said, I meet fear face on.
Mm-hmm.
There's times in my life that I have regrets because I didn't meet fear face on. And I think that speaks to what this team has to do in general. Like,
Yeah.
they have to meet adversity and fear face on, or they're not going to be successful.
Yeah, and I think that bleeds into a lot of parts of life. And I remember even when I was starting to first work here, and that was one of the things that Rick Ballou told me himself is, say yes to everything, even if it scares you, because you may not end up liking it. Like, say yes to sidelines, say yes to, doing sports updates, say yes to live shows, say yes to this, and then from there you can figure out what you love doing and navigate your life from there. But if you say no to things, you'll never figure it out, and sometimes it's a surprise. But I do think that when it comes to football players, yeah, that's something that we have to talk, or football players and the people leading the football team. I think for them, there's a lot of decisions that have to be made, and you're not going to make every right decision. That's part of it too. I think we also have to get that in our head when James Gladstone is not going to bat. It's not not just going to be that. Nobody does. But
hopefully, bats better than 100.
Yeah, I was about to say 100. But
just bat above the Mendoza line.
I was about to say go 100 for 100, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. But yeah, I think that there's going to be misses. But what you have to realize is that you have a guy that's willing to take chances and willing to take the big chances, and Travis Hunter is one of those. Moving up and giving away the capital that you did for Travis Hunter, for what people are saying is the best player in the draft, it's a risk, but it's a risk that it could potentially be one of the most one of the things that work out the best in the history of what the Jacksonville Jaguars have ever done.
To Taylor's point, fear is not an excuse. Whether it's football, whether it's whatever profession you follow, whether it's whatever it may be. If you say, well, I didn't do this because I'm scared, that's not an excuse. And in the same vein, if this is to be the bold city, then you cannot operate under the premise of fear. And I don't know if that has always been the case in the 30-plus year history of this team, perhaps taking more of the conservative approach. And the fact that James Gladstone has said that independent of the team that I am the general manager of, this is who I am, and this is thus who the Jaguars are going to be. But also, if you're going to carry that moniker, yeah, that's how we're going to live.
Yeah, the franchise started with boldness, right? Hiring Tom Coughlin from a college team. He had never coached in the NFL. Obviously the expansion draft and selecting the players that they did back then, I think those were all bold moves. But somewhere along the way, this franchise, maybe conservative, maybe predictable, whatever adjectives you want to use.
Half measures.
But that's why everyone says same old Jags. And I think there are still fans that are nervous to get excited about all of the new that we have around. And we said yesterday, you've been let down so many times, it's hard to get excited. But what I loved last night is getting that window inside the NFL Combine, inside those interviews, and that's why I jokingly said I learned how to pronounce his name, Derek LeBlanc. Basically calling a player out. Do you not know these calls? Have you not been playing football, right? Yeah. And I honestly did not know that coaches wowould be that aggressive in those interviews. I thought it was a much more formal, and they would listen to the player, and then they would evaluate after the player left the room. That to me was news breaking.
I mean, Pete Carroll took his shirt off, so I wouldn't rule anything out there. I think Tony Baselli was surprised that was the line of questioning, especially from a first-year staff in a new locale. I think Liam Cohen was surprised that question was asked, but ultimately,
those looks on their faces were priceless.
Yeah, ultimately it's going to be interesting because to juxtapose that, Lauren, with Tony Baselli being very forthright. They have the clip from Tet McMillan when Brian Sexton asked him in Green Bay, have you talked to the Jaguars? And he said, no one's talked to the Jaguars. Right. And this notion of, well, their line of questioning is not Pete Carroll taking his shirt off for DK Metcalf at the Combine, and then they're bringing him in for a top 30 visit, and then they're also meeting with people in his world. This is not that approach. And so that's where I'm curious, are we just here in Jacksonville progressing to where those Combine interviews won't be something that happens each year? Or is that we are progressing as an entire league to a point where the crazy line of questioning or the putting a player on the spot, maybe that's not how the evaluation process is conducted in years to come?
I think, though, I could still see a mix of, because I still think there's going to be coaches and GMs that want to personally have these conversations with people and not just go talk to. And Baselli talked about it, you were talking to people he lived with and talking to coaches and talking to this, and that's how we got the information on Travis Hunter. But I do think some people will still want that face-to-face, and some people are big eye contact and the way you shake my hand, and I think there's always going to be that type of person leading certain football teams. So I don't see it completely going away, but I could see people adapting more and more this way, especially if it works. If it works here, if it doesn't work here, people are going to be like, okay, Sean McVay's the only one that can really do that, and everybody else needs to just stick to what we've done for a very long time.
I found this interesting. ESPN's Dan Graziano did a deep dive on Travis Hunter's NFL contract implications of playing both wide receiver and cornerback. He said if Hunter plays significant snaps on both sides of the ball, he and his agents could have some fun trying to build incentive clauses into his second contract once he's extension eligible after the 2027 season. Basically what that means is guys who play a certain percentage of snaps, they then get certain incentives. And so a guy like Brock Purdy, who was making right around $1 million this past year, well, he still got a bonus of like 800-something thousand because of all the snaps that he played. So Travis Hunter's second contract, obviously it could be Shohei Ohtani-like, but it also could have those types of incentives. And so then you have a player who's literally going to go to the coaching staff and be like, okay, I need X amount of snaps on defense this week in addition to offense. So it's going to have, in other words, financial implications. But I think his presence, that's the other part that I enjoyed of the hunt. Like just getting to see him, and I'm so excited. Taylor and I haven't been able to go out yet. So getting to see him on Monday, see him in person, see him dancing, I cannot wait.
Yeah, I think that it's just the type, we've said it for a long time, the type of energy you need back here. And it's been a while since you've had personalities where you really feel drawn to. And I think you had several of those in 2017. The problem is it ended up kind of imploding because they didn't really mesh the way that you want them to mesh. It's early on, but it feels like they do. It feels like between James Gladstone, between Liam Cohen, between Trevor Lawrence, I'm sure for the guys that are already on the team, it's kind of refreshing. It's a breath of fresh air. And the new guys that have probably heard a lot of negative things about the Jacksonville Jaguars for several years, as they were like, oh, don't get drafted by the Jaguars and nobody wants to be the Jaguars. I'm sure they're kind of looking around like, this is nice. Like, these facilities are nice. Gladstone's fantastic. Liam Cohen's fantastic. Trevor Lawrence is a great dude. Like, I'm sure they're kind of looking around and saying, this is not what I have been told this was going to be, and I'm sure that's nice for everybody to kind of see and feel right now.
I think so much of it, and this is part of why, again, I know that there were people who questioned this idea of the Jaguars, did they give up too much to select Travis Hunter? But ultimately, and James and Tony Baselli certainly echoed this last night, if it's just so clear and obvious that he's the best player and he is a self-starter, he is a self-motivator, he is someone who, as you talk about this identity of guys who love football, players who want to be in the facility coming up with their own ways of how to be their best version of themselves, independent of what assignments are being handed to them, then just do it. And I think the fact that, like, again, we will see what happens come September. We will see what happens on Sundays and one Monday night game as of now. Like, we will see what happens. But at the same time, this notion of if it's clear and obvious, even if it requires a little bit of, oh, no, but that goes against what history tells us. Okay, well, whatever. You got to. Someone had to change at some point in time. Whether it was Kyle Shanahan and Mike Shanahan in 2012 with the Washington Redskins, whether it was Sean McVay in 2017 with the Los Angeles Rams. At some point in time, someone broke free from tendency. So why not you now?
Now I want to shake the hand of every single rookie on this team and see whose handshake is going to try and break my hand. Yeah, that's what's stuck in my head. All right, we'll let you hear a couple clips from the episode of The Hunt last night when we return. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Feel Good Friday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hi, I'm Tom Jackson.
This is Shannon Sharp.
I'm Mike McCarthy. You're listening to 1010XL.
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 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
Covered by Lee and Kate's Glass.
New look, same great service.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. Because all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. We're out here right now at the gorgeous new Kia on Atlantic. Absolutely gigantic, all state-of-the-art technology for the service side and a packed lot of new Kias. You may not think a car dealership is cool, but I promise you this one is cool. Come out here. We're live noon to 2 today. Tons of giveaways, Jags tickets, concert tickets, and auto service giveaways. Just swing by and check out the new Kia on Atlantic right now until 2. Kia on Atlantic near Kernan.
Looking for a great place to enjoy some craft creations and soak up some scenery? Fernandina's Mocama Beer Company is a must-see and must-try. Nassau County knows it. Visitors need to find out about it. Mocama means near the big water where the sun is born. And if you visit their tap room in Fernandina Beach, you'll see how they've mastered equal parts precision and art in creating great flavors from IPAs to Pilsners, lagers, and sours, plus plenty more. Mocama.com, Mocama Beer Company. Start an adventure and find them in Fernandina.
The 2025 season schedule has dropped, and single game tickets are on sale now. Be at the bank to watch Travis Hunter, Trevor Lawrence, and the Jaguars take on the biggest names in the NFL. Don't miss your favorite matchup and secure your tickets now by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. See you this fall, Jags fans.
Yes, sir. That's the best decision.
I love it.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less.
Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Guys, your lawn's the home field. Now you can champion your St. Augustine grass. TopDressing.com just hit Jacksonville with a game-changing patented process. Aerate and transform your turf into a fairway-worthy masterpiece. Less water, shorter cuts, and the envy of every neighbor. No one else delivers a perfect 10 lawn like this. Visit TopDressing.com and dominate your block with the same process that golf courses use. Top dress your lawn like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Right now, they're on their way to disrupt your life, make you uncomfortable, and rob you. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack North Florida again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt. Mike Merritt's Heating and Air has a license to chill. When heat and humidity are attacking you, Mike Merritt provides a comfortable chill at a bargain price. Mike has been keeping North Florida comfortable for 30 years. Mike Merritt technicians are never paid commissions, meaning you'll never be pressured to buy something you don't need. And Mike Merritt knows cooling issues can arise anytime. They don't just happen during business hours. So Mike Merritt never charges overtime fees. When you need us, we're here for you. Remember, in the fight against heat and humidity, Mike Merritt has a license to chill. Visit merrittair.com. Florida license number CACO 50384.
Get tips from PGA pros on Brunch with the Tour with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser. Tuesday morning at 8:30. Teed up by Clearwater Irrigation and Apex Roofing and Contracting. Brunch provided by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
This is Hayes Carline, and I'm so proud of my guy, Leon Searcy.
Man, I used to want to eat all the time, but just 1 month on Physician Guided Weight Loss, and I've already dropped 15 pounds.
And I lost 25. No side effects, just results.
The GLP, one curbs my cravings and keeps me feeling full. It's been easier than I expected, and I feel amazing.
Their staff is great, and best of all, no surprise costs.
If you're ready to bring sexy back this summer, visit pgweightloss.com.
Physician-guided weight loss, safe, doctor supervised.
And it works.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville.
Taylor Dull Mia O'Brien, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Dylan Denmark back at 1010XL headquarters. Taylor, remind everybody where we are and what they can win today, please, ma'am.
We are at Kia on Atlantic. It's formerly known as Kia on Southside. They just moved down the road a little bit, so now near Kernan Boulevard if you're headed out towards the beach. But yeah, we have a ton of giveaways. We still have. So there's if you swing by, there's an entry box up here by us, and you have the chance to win Jaguars tickets. We're giving away that home opener against the Panthers, a pair of tickets to that. We're also giving away a pair of tickets to go see Live and Collective Soul at Daly's Place. That's coming up. If you haven't been to Daly's Place, that place is fantastic. Lauren and I love live music, so we've been there many times. And then we're also going to give away, Kia is giving away 2 free tire alignments and 2 free oil changes. So swing by the register boxes up here and say hello to us.
I love that. Speaking of live music, saw Tyler Childers last night.
Yes, how was it?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And what was great was he left the stage and came in the middle, which a lot of artists will do that. And I just love that because it brings the people who don't have necessarily the best seats a little closer to the artist. And he played his acoustic set there. It was he was fantastic. I've always heard he's really good live, and I knew people that had seen him multiple times before. Anytime someone tells you like they've seen them multiple times, any artist, you're like, okay, that means sign me up. Yeah, it must be good as right. But that's all not nearly as important as what Dylan Denmark did this morning. Dylan, what exactly happened?
So I get my groceries delivered to me because, life of a bachelor. I don't have time to be scrolling through the grocery aisles.
Is it from Kangaroo? I have to ask. Are your groceries from Kangaroo?
No,
okay.
no.
Yeah, I know. I know it is, but I learned what Kangaroo was because of our friend Dylan Denmark.
So I ordered my groceries during Hacker Show last night to be delivered this morning. And, I always make a note when I wake up to grab the groceries. And, I forgot this morning. And I found out when I got to work, I was like, crap, I left my groceries on the freaking porch. So then I'm looking, I'm like, what did I leave that I have to throw away? And it was just 3 pounds of ground beef and an orange juice. So if anybody wants that on the west side, you can just scroll porch and pick it up.
West side!
Get some ground beef.
I mean, the orange juice might be okay. I'm not touching the ground beef.
Well, AI said that it can last outside up to 2 hours, and it'll be like
AI said.
6.
Well, clearly AI is known to be accurate about everything, as is the internet.
Did the groceries they got delivered before you left, or what?
No, they got delivered at 6:45 this morning.
Oh,
and I
then
woke
you don't
up
walk out your front door.
Yeah. I got a carport on the back side.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan, that's okay. Beach life. I have a carport as well. No garage out at the beach. But yeah, I just wanted everyone. I just wanted everyone to hear. Maybe we should get matching bumper stickers that say #carport life. That would be special. All right, let's get it back to the hunt. You got to watch, I should say, about 40 minutes of the new episode last night. If you're a Jaguars fan, I'm sure you tuned in. If not, you can certainly find that on YouTube today or this weekend. But James Gladstone, this is him telling us just about how the idea they got in order to trade up for Travis Hunter.
Early April, James came up with the idea. And all 3 of us love Travis Hunter and wanted to see him in a Jaguar jersey. To be honest, I wasn't thinking about, could we trade up? I mean, it kind of crosses your mind. James came to Liam and I. We're sitting in the draft room, and he says, we think about maybe making a phone call to Cleveland and New York and see if we can move up and try to get Travis. I pretty much immediately, at least in my mind, was like, why not? And if we have a chance to go get a generational talent, a guy who's trying to redefine the game of football as far as playing on both sides of the ball, I think it's a great idea.
I don't know that there was much expectation as much as it was just curiosity. And we were in the discovery phase, right? Exploration and, seeing if there was, in fact, a path to make it come to life. Once we got through the owners' meetings and established some initial lines of communication with all the general managers across the league, we were able to go deeper. And at that point in time, Andrew Barry and I were able to dive into what would become the framework for ultimately the move from 5 to 2.
Started the EVP. I did not say that he was also in that clip, but Tony Baselli started that. I think the relationship with other general managers is so crucial as a general manager. Mm-hmm. When we had a previous general manager tell us that they weren't able to make certain moves, I'm not saying that's all because of bad relationships. I'm not saying that. But certainly the better you have a relationship with those other GMs, the more moves you can make.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you trust, you have to build that system of trust, and that was obviously something that former general manager did not have, and a lot of people talked about that around the league. A lot of people did not trust him, and so I do think that with James Gladstone and the way that he's worked and the way that the reputation he has at his former stop, obviously with the Rams, there is a level of trust there, and people want to answer those phone calls and at least have conversations that could have turned to nothing, but at least making that phone call was the first step of making it happen.
As the title of episode 2 of The Hunt stated, time will tell. But what I can tell you is the fact that these 3 gentlemen, along with Jake Teme and some of the other brain trusts, were able to keep this under wraps. And the fact that Andrew Berry and the folks in Cleveland were largely able to keep this under wraps bodes well, because that means that this group can keep a secret together.
Mm-hmm.
And look, let's go right back down memory lane, Taylor. We all found out that the Trayvon Walker interest was potentially real 3 weeks before the NFL draft. Someone leaked that to the media. It somehow got out there. Now, whether that was from inside the Jaguars facility, if that was from Trayvon Walker's camp, from the University of Georgia, I can speculate where it came from. I can speculate. And look, certainly in that situation, the Jaguars are picking number 1. It doesn't matter who's picking ahead of them. It doesn't matter that Cam Ward has to go in order for a trade that is contingent upon that to actually take place. But it is worth noting that this is a group that self-admitted last night on The Hunt, said, we didn't put out any smoke screens. We just didn't say anything.
Yeah.
And the fact that they committed themselves to keeping it private and keeping a secret, I think that bodes well. And again, time will tell if that happens year in and year out. But the fact that they were able to do it in year 1, it's pretty impressive.
It's also just so funny to me going back to draft week of seeing how much of stuff was just like BS that week too, because of all the, whatever, the Mason Graham stuff, that was just a conversation, but the Ashton Genty and then wanting to trade back because some people were interested in Ashton Genty, and then obviously on the Chicago was the one that was, people were rumored that Chicago wanted to move up, and then everything I've heard since was that wasn't true either. So there was just so much crazy stuff getting stirred around on draft day, but I wonder if it was because these guys, like there was a group of guys right now that are being way more secretive than maybe things used to be, and so now these smoke screens start getting created by other people just to try and get some sort of news out there the week of the draft.
Yeah, I think around 4 p.m. is when you started to hear it was started maybe a little bit during our show, that word bold had started to come out, and then maybe around 4 p.m. between then and 7 p.m. I would say is when it started to be like, wait, this might actually go down. It just, we weren't sure what the Browns were going to require in order to move from 2 to 5. And then, of course, yes, in the end, it's this wide web of everything.
Yeah,
And
or if the Browns were that dumb.
Because the Browns ended up taking Mason Graham.
Or that the Browns would get cold feet. Because, like, that's once I got a call at 4 o'clock that was like, oh, no, this is happening, I was just like, I still don't believe it. I still don't want to report it fully. Because there is still a chance the Jaguars get left at the altar. Because why the heck would you sit there if you're Andrew Berry and do media and say that he's Shohei Ohtani and then not take him?
Yeah.
Right. And there's also the possibility that the Titans weren't taking Cam Ward. And I think we all believed they were.
Yeah.
But there's the possibility that the Titans said the same thing that the Jaguars did, and that is Travis Hunter's the best player in this draft.
Yeah, just take
so we still have Will Levis.
Yeah. Especially if they had, which obviously people didn't but still at 4 o'clock, if we're starting to hear stuff like that, then they were starting to hear stuff like that, and the Titans could have been like, oh, no, we're not letting the Jaguars get Travis Hunter. Let's switch our whole plan. And just imagine how that chaos would have just happened if they would have taken him, and then, obviously they had a backup plan. I'm not saying
But what if Genty had gone off the board? Let's say the Titans take Travis Hunter. Let's say the Browns take
Ashton Genty.
Then Mason Graham goes third. Like, who are the Jaguars taking if Ted McMillan goes fourth in that scenario? And again, that was not going to happen. But if all those
the Titans
guys
could have screwed up a lot of stuff.
hopefully they still do, because hopefully Cam Ward is terrible.
This I can report. Like I had enough conversations around the Nashville intel, the people at Nissan Stadium,
Music City,
not media, people in that building, like 3 weeks before, being like, yeah, y'all know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Try to convince me. Try to convince me otherwise. Try to convince my bosses otherwise.
Cam Ward knew where he was going. I think that also was solidified. I'll never forget watching the Jaguars broadcast, and it was Jeff Logman, Tony Baselli, and I'm trying to think, maybe JP Shadrick was hosting, and Baselli was like, well, who do you want? And Logs had this big grin on his face, and he's like, Travis Hunter. And Baselli's like, oh, joking, obviously, because this is before the draft. Like, oh, you like him, huh? Like, you what you think we can get him? And of course, now looking back, I'm like, looks new. But I think he was in that small group of people that probably.
No, I don't think he knew. Quite
you
frankly,
don't think so?
No, I don't. I don't think he knew. I'm gonna be Jeff. If you're listening and you did, I'm sorry, but I don't. Text me. I don't think he knew.
I wonder if after that conversation he did, because it's like when you mention something like that and the person you know very well reacts a certain way, you start being like, hold on, we were talking about this with Kevin proposing to you when I was talking about the ring. His reaction, I was like, there's something
going on.
Like when you know a person, you can feed off of those, the instant reaction and facial expressions of what they may or may not know. But it is funny because I would go back to, there was like the couple weeks before the draft too, when we were talking, and I was like, I truly don't know. I was like, I'm very confident that Cam Ward goes to the Titans at 1, but I really don't know much after that. And Mia, that's when I thought it was hilarious because you're like, well, I know 1 and 2. Like that is very, and actually you didn't.
Right, I did because I said it was Travis Hunter. It just was the Jaguars, not the Browns selecting him number 2 overall.
This is why we love the draft. All right, so on Monday, 8:50 a.m. to 11 a.m. practice is open to media, and then at 11 a.m. Liam Cohen and Josh Hines Allen will be available to reporters, and then on Thursday, the next OTA, again, practice times are the same, and then Liam Cohen once again with Brian Thomas Jr. So Jags fans, that's what you get to look forward to next week. All right, move over conference commissioners. I have an answer for selecting the college football playoff.
All right.
That's right.
Greg Sankey didn't have one.
That's right.
Brian Kelly didn't have one.
I'll tell y'all next,
does.
and I think you'll agree, Mia and Taylor. I think you will. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 10 to Knicks on 92.5 FM.
From the preseason to the playoffs and every day in between.
Each man individually preparing himself to be the best he could possibly be. Better than he's ever been. Because that's what it's going to take.
At 1010XL, the season never ends. Lee and Kate's Glass, Friday on Helmets and Heels.
The Summer Starts Here sales event is back, and it's packed with hot summer savings going on now at Arlington Toyota. Why does Northeast Florida buy from Arlington? Because Arlington is the place to go for big selection. I'm talking over 800 vehicles, one location, and everyday low prices. Over 350 SUVs, over 175 trucks, over 275 cars, and my friends at Arlington tell me there's more on the way. Plus 60-day exchange. It's simple. If you don't like your purchase, just come on back to Arlington within 60 days and exchange it for another one. You even get Arlington's lifetime warranty with your new Toyota purchase. Why buy from Arlington? Because during Summer Starts Here, you can get financing as low as 0% on select new Toyota models. 0% and no payments until January 2026. Shop Summer Starts Here at Arlington Toyota. In person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter mile east of 295, or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Get this. Joey and me were supposed to go to this concert next week, right? But then something terrible happened. Joey was driving without a seatbelt. But he didn't wreck. No, he got pulled over. Now Joey has to pay for a seatbelt ticket instead of a concert ticket, and I have to go by myself. How lame is that? So Joey, if you're out there, you're an idiot. Wear your seatbelt or you'll get a ticket.
All across the country, cops are cracking down. Click it or ticket, day and night.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Hi, folks. It's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee and Kate's Glass. There's beautiful custom glass shower enclosures, maybe a new mirror, a glass tabletop. They can even replace your foggy or cracked glass without having to replace the whole window. Lee & Kate's is local. They're family-owned. They've been a part of our community since 1926. Boy, they've taken care of me, including our brand new offices at Walk-Off Charities. They did a great job. I promise they'll do the same for you. Visit leeandkatesglass.com.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On May 30th, 1927, Walter Johnson records his 110th and final shutout of his Baseball Hall of Fame career, the most in MLB history.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-345-2789. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-345-2789. That's 800-345-2789 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-345-2789.
Hey folks, Frank Frangie here reminding you the 4th annual Daly's Walk-Off Charities Golf Classic is right around the corner. We sure appreciate our friends at Daly's, always making it possible, and appreciate so many of you who have played over the years. This year, we're back at Deer Creek Country Club Monday, June 9th at 9 a.m. with tons of prizes, auction items, and an awful lot of fun. You'll even meet some of our young walk-off players. Just go to walkoffcharities.com for more information. Can't wait to see you on June 9th at the Daly's Walk-Off Charities Golf Classic.
Neck pain, back pain, or headache, Shinatri Chiropractic has 4 locations: Westside, 103rd, Riverside, Arlington, and the Beaches. Acupuncture, dry needling, physical therapy. Relief starts today. Shinatri Chiropractic, 743-6700.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Dylan Denmark filling in for RJ Saunders back at 1010XL headquarters. Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, and I'm Lauren Brooks here with you. Taylor, remind everybody that they can come win some stuff.
Yes, we have a ton of stuff we are giving away here at Kia on Atlantic. This is the Kia right near, you're right before you get to Kernan Boulevard on Atlantic Boulevard. But we have a couple free alignments, tire alignments we're giving away, a couple free oil changes we're going to be giving away. We also have a box up here where you can enter in for your chance to win Jaguars tickets to that home opener. Also, tickets to see Live and Collective Soul at Daly's Place. So there is a lot of cool things we'll be giving away. Just swing by and say hello to us.
That's right. Live and Collective Soul were so big in the 90s.
Yeah. And Live was a band who, probably like 5-6 years ago, I didn't realize how many songs I knew. But then I had a friend whose mom loved Live, and we had been having a conversation about it. And I was like, I don't know if I know any of those songs. And he was like, yeah, you do. And he played this one. It was like one after another. I was like, oh, I know Live. I did that.
Yeah, same with Collective Soul. I feel like there's a lot that you may not know. Is
Collective Soul, in a different vein, but similar. 38 Special. You're like, oh, I've heard that song on the radio before.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so by the way, my baseball team, after my softball team lost 3-0 yesterday, my baseball team is now down 2-0 to East Carolina.
Oh, no.
In the top of the second, and runners are on first and second with 1 out.
Who's pitching for the Gators today?
Liam Peterson, and it's not gone well so far.
Okay.
But apparently, Kevin O'Sullivan is not pleased with the East Carolina pitcher. I think his name's Nordy, and has yelled at the umpire. He thinks he's too early, which is interesting. But Kevin O'Sullivan
Thinks
being
he's
mad.
too early.
Never
Yeah.
wrong, just early. Ha ha ha. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's Taylor with the somebody winning something. You told the drill. Oh, the Oklahoma City Thunder going to the.
yes,
right.
7
They haven't won yet, but the NBA Finals.
years
yes.
ago.
Okay, so the College Football Playoff Committee currently is a 13-person panel of athletic directors, former coaches, and one member of the media. They rely on data, but that only informs their decisions. The College Football Playoff Committee does not weigh strength of schedule in its decision-making, a protocol that has been in place since the inception of the College Football Playoff 11 years ago. As we know, the SEC last year was not happy that Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina, all teams that had won 9 games, were left out of the playoff, and teams certainly like an Indiana gets in. So, to me, college basketball has this perfectly done and right, and it's not that hard. You look at your quad 1 wins. Someone has to determine, obviously, what quad one is in college football versus college basketball, but you have a metric. You have your quad 1 wins and you have your quad 1 losses. And that's how you evaluate it. And the people with the most quad 1 wins, and certainly even if they have some quad 1 losses, but they get in, undefeated, of course, Power 5, Power 4, whatever, they get in. But we're talking about teams with losses. Most teams these days are going to have losses. And then if you have a bunch of either non-quad 1 wins or several quad 2 or beyond losses, you don't get into the college football playoff. Is that difficult?
So you're all in on the net ranking.
I'm all in. If there needs to be a metric. It's not a conference thing. It does matter. Strength of schedule does matter. And in college basketball, I understand you can play more non-conference games. The season is longer. I get all that. But at the end of the day, when you're evaluating a team as to whether or not they deserve to be in the college basketball tournament, you look at their quad 1 wins and their quad 1 losses, and you say, okay, now this team is a deserving team to be in. And if they have a lot of bad losses, they don't deserve to get in, or if they don't have a lot of quad 1 wins. Indiana is the team, that I'm talking about. How many quad 1, we'll call it, wins would they have had last year? I think 0.
Yeah. Correct. Well, so the problem is, as we ended the show yesterday on,
I'm fired up over here.
Well, no, the problem is that I agree with you, Lauren, even though certainly there's plenty of college basketball aficionados who would say that the net has its own flaws.
Right.
But the problem is,
at least it's a metric.
The flaw in the plan is the secret, or maybe perhaps not so secret, plot by both the Big Ten and the SEC to get on the record confirmation that they will have 4 teams guaranteed, that they will have spots guaranteed. Already as is, you have the group of 5, the mid-major, if you may, guarantee that the
automatic bid.
Automatic bid goes to the highest ranked group of 5 conference champion. And so this notion of, okay, well, if you're guaranteeing spots, then that's where net ranking gets a little dicey,
and people don't like,
because it's at large spots. If it's the Big Ten and the SEC, like, I'm cool with group of 5, like the highest ranked or the highest net ranking group of 5 school automatically gets a bid. I'm cool with that. Even if in college basketball, to that same point, we've seen, like, if you win your conference tournament, but you actually were in second place in the regular season, or maybe second place in the rankings behind a different school, like let's say Boise State had lost the Mountain West Championship, Boise State would not have gone to the college football playoff. That's a little dicey, but that also happens in basketball, so fine. We let that one slide.
But people are upset, to your point about some people not liking the net. People are upset because the SEC wants to use these metrics that ESPN produces, like a strength of schedule, like an FPI, like a strength of record, and then there's another predictive model called SP+. Why do people not want the SEC or College Football Playoff Committee to use the ESPN ones? Because who televises the
Correct.
SEC?
The mouse.
ESPN.
The
so
mouse.
people think that, well, we can't use those metrics because
Great at
there's
the
a bias
bottom.
in there. Okay, fine. Then take out ESPN and put in a different
other
organization. By all means, I don't need bias. I'm over the automatic, this fight and the politics behind all of it. I'm over all that. Well, put the best teams in the college football playoff.
What's the thing? What's the college basketball?
There's a committee.
Well, when we were talking about, I'm trying to think of the term right
The
now.
net.
It's the man's name. It's like a man's name, I think.
Kempom.
Kempom. Like, can we have somebody
like Kempom for football?
And there's the other one who predicts all the
Bart
64 teams.
Torvik and Evan Mia.
The
There's
one
a
that
couple
works
of
for
them.
ESPN.
So essentially, I don't have any. I think that strength of schedule.
Lenardi.
Thank you. I was like, it's a very popular name. Joe Lenardi.
I think that the strength of schedule. I hate way too early strength of schedules, but I think when you're after after a season or
After a
like
quarter
a
of the
quarter of
season.
the season,
Yeah.
it's way easier to predict that or kind of rank those when it comes to the strength of schedule. The interesting thing is if you go to, for example, this last year, the last SEC team standing in Texas, that was the biggest criticism, is that their schedule wasn't very difficult. And when you go through it, I don't know. I guess you would have to see what that quad one and what all of them would end up being. But the schedule wasn't very difficult, but they were the last SEC team standing in the college football playoff.
They had two what I will call quad one losses because Texas lost
Against
to Georgia
Georgia.
both times.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, who did they beat is always the question.
Yeah.
But to me, the Big Ten, the ACC, maybe not the Pac-12 anymore, but the SEC and the Big 12, like they need to stop fighting because we're not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
I understand that the SEC and the Big Ten hold all the leverage. I get all that. But what we need is to have some sort of metrics so that there's not this infighting. There's already enough issues with college football or college athletics, obviously, with the transfer portal and NIL. Now, though, this is causing even more drama. And to me, I'm like, can we please just have our rivalries, our traditions, our pageantry, and let the sport of college football exist the way that it did 10 years ago?
So here's just a counter argument, just so that we have all our bases covered, because I agree with you, Lauren.
I thought you would.
Yeah, I do. There is still.
I'll put it on a spreadsheet.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
Okay.
I need you to come up with me.
I can do it.
We're taking strength of schedule into account. We're taking what other metrics are you taking into account?
Strength of record.
Strength of record.
And the Football Power Index.
Okay.
Plus a predictive model called SP+.
Beautiful. So we're taking all of those numbers, averaging it per each team, and by averaging it per each team, this is the new net ranking for college football. There is still a committee in college basketball. Not that the committee has that much sway because the numbers don't lie.
Right.
The committee has more of a say when it comes to those last 8 or 9 teams into the field who are at-large bids, which is, again, where I say, to your point about the ACC and the Big 12, and Matt Hayes has been banging the drum about this, that's where they have to be careful because there's still a committee. So let's say, throw this out there, hypothetically. Actually, Dylan, hey, Dylan, do you have the Imagine soundtrack, perchance, from my friends at Closets by Design? Do you have that, perchance? Back at 1010XLHQ? Okay, well, we're going to... so Imagine by Closets by Design. Imagine your home totally...
with Closets by Design.
Imagine your home totally organized.
We love our friends at Closets by Design. Don't just get closets, get your garage, get your kitchen pantry totally organized however you see fit. So, imagine here for a second, ladies. Let's say, to your point, Lauren, I love this metric. We're going to call it the football net. But let's...
I don't get to... It doesn't get to be named after me?
The Lauren Brooks net. the Brooks net. The Brooks account. So, let's say... Imagine
LB
here for a
method.
second.
Right.
Let's say, because in the net rankings, when it comes to college basketball, it's 1 through 320 or whatever it is. But let's imagine here for a second that Texas is 11th in the net ranking. And Clemson doesn't win the ACC, or Miami doesn't win the ACC, but they're 12th. And so they're on the fence of, or rather, let's inverse it. Clemson is 11th, Texas is 12th. Who's getting in?
Well, who won the SEC?
So Alabama or Georgia, somebody else. And so you've already gotten the SEC championship
So
winner.
Clemson is 12th.
Or let's do 12. So rephrase. So Clemson is 12th. Texas is 13th.
But the problem is the group of 5 team that it hasn't. If they're not 1 through 11, that's the problem now. Is that
you
team
have
is
to
getting
get
that
in.
spot? But putting that aside, to me, it should be the highest
12th.
ranked. Yeah, of course.
So is it that simple though? Because
to me it is.
That's the part that I feel like we have to start talking about publicly, and that's why I keep saying Matt's name, because we have to start discussing what the wolf in sheep's clothes, that is the Big Ten, and what the SEC, in conjunction with the Big Ten, never forget the alliance, this is the new alliance, what they have been plotting behind the scenes, which is, I believe in that scenario, because the committee is still involved, and just like we see a 4-win Oklahoma basketball team get into the field over a Bradley team that has 30-plus wins, because, they didn't win their conference tournament, and they play in the best conference in basketball. I believe that because it's at large and because there's still a committee, they would find a way to, outside of maybe the first few at larges, say, okay, but they play in this conference. I think that there's still, unfortunately, going to be room for subjective views because there would still be a committee. Unless we are entirely going off the computer, but that doesn't happen in any sport.
But as of now, they're getting together, those 13 people, like I told you, the athletic directors, the former coaches, and one member of the media. They're getting together, and they're not having conversations about strength of schedule. Like, how can you talk about college football and not
which is a bigger
put that in? Like, how did they 11 years ago come up with that? A, I don't know, but B, why are we still? If it's broke, fix it.
Yeah.
This system is broken. And again, college football will always be there will always be viewers. It's not going to ever go away.
Yeah.
But I do think that they just need to tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that the argument from other conferences are going to say, like, for example, with the SEC, especially if they go to the 9, like they play 9 SEC teams or whatever, they play 9 conference games, and then a Big Ten game. That's what Matt is talking about. So automatically, the SEC is going to have all of their strength of schedule. Nobody even has a chance to compete against that.
Correct.
And it's not really fair to some of those schools is probably what their argument is going to be, because they don't even have the opportunity to play SEC schools, because you're playing 10 teams that aren't in one of those other conferences.
The conference schedules create a massive issue here, because in theory, to use my metrics, you would have Clemson play 3 games against the SEC, 3 games against the ACC, 3 games against the Big 12, and then at the end, and have every team,
that strength of schedule can be more evenly calculated.
And that's why I understand why people hate the SEC, because the SEC people are saying, well, obviously Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina deserved in because look at some of their victories. And people say, well, those teams weren't that good. Miami was better. And I'm trying to think of another team that didn't get in last year that thought they deserved in, but that team, should have gotten in, things like that. Like SMU
South Carolina.
Right, those are SEC teams. I was thinking of
outside of SEC.
SEC team. But it just it's an issue that I need.
I like your idea though, Lauren. I do want to
Thank
get
you.
that. Like
I appreciate that.
And the idea that we have now gone. 2014 was the first college football playoff. We are entering year 12, and there is not one consensus, like, this is the metric that we use. It's all left up to interpretation and subjective viewpoints. Like, it blows my mind.
And then it will also be like, Texas is 12th, but Arch Manning gets hurt 2 weeks ago. And then they're like, wait, no, Arch isn't playing.
And see, Florida State fans, I think, would totally agree with this, because who would have been in 2 years ago?
Yeah, Florida State
would have absolutely been in.
Yeah.
And I understand that their quarterback got hurt, but they still would have been in. By the way, Florida's now down 4-0.
Oh,
so
sorry, Liam Peterson. From 828 off the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, we constantly hear year in, year out that the SEC is the best conference in college football. Well, if that's the case, why would the SEC need strength of schedule as one of its reasons to get into the playoff?
I mean, the SEC is one of the best. I think it's the SEC and Big Ten neck and neck, but I do think the SEC is a deeper conference. But you need strength of schedule to evaluate a team like Georgia across a team like Ohio State, across a team like Clemson, across a team like Iowa State, for instance.
But to Taylor's point, like, if they're playing each other, then already, and that's why, to your point, that's why I appreciate including the BPI strength of schedule, like including multiple
different.
Right, because if we are just going off strength of schedule, then yes, to the texter's point, all the SEC teams are going to be higher, which is similar to what, unfortunately, we saw in college basketball.
Right. But it's also called an eye test. Do what I do every Saturday, what Brian and I do. Sit on the couch and for 12 hours.
That's what the committee says they're doing.
Right, yeah, and they're not. Absorb college football for 12 hours and then get back to me. All right, there was a really funny moment that happened with the Carolina Hurricanes. I want to let y'all hear from a certain player that Taylor absolutely loves on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
1010XL, where we share great moments.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
1010XL.
And that's what you have here.
The joys of home ownership. Until the plumbing backs up, the AC goes out, or your septic system decides to act up. The good news? You don't have to call 3 different companies when things go wrong. Just call my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. They're your one-stop shop for plumbing, septic, and air conditioning, all under one roof. Whether it's a leak, a clog, or your system just won't cool, they've got you covered. Don't take my word for it, although, as I've said time and time again, Duck Duck has saved me, especially in these hot summer months. Check out their 5-star reviews on Google, too. Give them a ring at 904-862-6769 or visit DuckDuckRooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. One call does it all.
Helmets and Heels.
Opened up by Lee and Kate's Glass.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
Come in, Linda. Over.
We got a sea of new vehicles and they're priced so low they're rocking the boat. Come check out our biggest selection of inventory with prices that don't break the bank and our wow ya experience that will ensure smooth sailing for your next car purchase. Plus, take advantage of our peace of mind warranties, transparent pricing to provide you with a peace of mind. You better beat the surge and head to the all-new Beaver Toyota or Chevrolet for the car buying experience you deserve.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Enhance your home with Renewal by Anderson's superior craftsmanship and timeless design. Right now, buy 2 windows or patio doors and get the third at 60% off. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires May 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Cannonball! Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
Lauren Brooks here. It's the Cruise into Summer event at Hodges Mazda at the Avenues. For a limited time, get up to $5,000 off a new 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred and receive a free 5-day cruise for 2 with your purchase. With off-road capability and this special offer, your summer adventure starts now. Hurry, 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred models are in limited supply at Hodges Mazda. Offer valid on new 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred only. MSRP $32,564. Must trade in a vehicle and finance through dealer to qualify for discount. Cruise and vehicle availability limited. Travel taxes and fees additional. See dealer for details.
It's not too late for a deep spring cleaning on your home. Give my friends at Zero Res a call. Mayhem 3-room special starting at $149 plus the 4th room is free. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com and tell them 1010XL sent you.
Zero Res.
Prosser here. Spring has sprung, and it's a great time to sell your house, but only if you have the very best on your side, and those very best are Chad and Sandy Newman. Spring selling season's here. Rates are down. Activity's up. It's the best time in years to sell your home, in fact, but there are homes sitting on the market. They don't have the right representation. That's where Chad and Sandy step in. Maybe you're worried your home needs repairs or updating and it won't sell for a good price. Maybe your family's growing and you need more space. Whatever the reason that you need to sell your home, Chad and Sandy deliver this promise to you. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Sounds pretty hassle-free to me. Take it from Mike and Rosemary in St. Augustine. We were determined to buy an affordable home in a specific school zone, but we didn't qualify for the loan needed to get one. Chad and Sandy's team worked with the lender, negotiated a higher qualification price, lower interest. It was huge, $200 less per month. Do it today. Call 414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com.
If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it and send them a Kuhn floral arrangement. JJ here with 1010XL. You'll be assured of a quality delivery, that's for sure. Log on and order online at KuhnFlowers.com.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Ackerman Cancer Center is celebrating a major milestone this month, treating their 3,000th patient with cutting-edge proton therapy. For excellence in cancer screening, diagnosis, and treatment, trust Ackerman Cancer Center. Learn more at ackermancancercenter.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
2 classic albums, 1 night of hits. Styx presents The Grand Illusion. Kevin Cronin Band presents REO Speedwagon's High Infidelity. June 2nd, Daly's Place.
Brotherhood of Rock Tour. Plus Don Felder, formerly of the Eagles. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. 2 classic albums in their entirety. Styx, The Grand Illusion, REO Speedwagons, High Infidelity. Don't miss the event of the summer.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by Awaken 180. The University of North Florida is currently hosting the NCAA Track and Field East Region first round, including 4 Osprey participants. On the women's side, Smila Colby and Ella Chandler, and Aiden O'Gorman and Robert Pedraza on the men's side. Last night was the women's 800-meter first round, including both Colby and Chandler. Colby, who's a first-team All-American for the Ospreys and holds the 3rd fastest time in NCAA history and the 7th fastest in the world, ran a 2-minute, 2.29-second 800 for a first-place finish and a spot in tomorrow night's 800-meter quarterfinal. She needs to finish with a top 12 time in tomorrow's race to propel her to her 2nd straight appearance into the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field National Championships in Eugene, Oregon. It's 86 degrees at 101. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. You just heard Max's update. Dylan Denmark back at 1010XL headquarters while Max hangs out with us, and he just talked about Smila Colby, who we've had on the show, and she cruised into that first place in the semifinals last night. Like he said, UNF hosting that East region for the NCAA Track and Field. A lot of good runners out there, but certainly she's amongst the class.
The weather has not made it easy on them.
Not at all. You know, I told you the other night,
said he was there until 5 a.m.
Yeah, the 5-hour weather delay the other night. Some of the runners didn't start until after 10 p.m. Like some of the races, that's when they first started. It was like 9 and 10 p.m.
No, I mean, photographer Jake didn't get home, he said, till 4 in the morning because a lot of the races and the actual festivities didn't end till after midnight, which is
look, I've told y'all before, the people who work in college athletics and put on the events are saints. Yeah. I've been there. I've done that. I know all about weather delays in sports. And I remember one time it was when UNF found out, it was the men's basketball found out it was going to the NIT and then hosting Florida because that's when the O'Connell Center was undergoing renovation. There was a baseball game with a 3-hour weather delay. So put that on, took a break, found out where UNF was going at Coach Driscoll's house, then went back to the baseball game to wrap that up. And I was like, man, this is why I work at radio side of things. I love all those.
Puts the local TV schedule even to shame, which is a scary thought after 90-hour weeks for 10 years. I did want to put a bow on our conversation regarding the college football playoff.
They've adopted it?
Yes, it does sound. It does sound like
it's promising.
The Heeligans, both on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, which of course you can get in on that conversation at 904-641-1010. You also can hit us up on the YouTube chat line. Just search 1010XL. We are right at the top of our homepage, and you can comment live. But, of course, the Mo'Brien text line is also open. And so our friend, our Heeligan JT in the ATL says, you guys are missing a key ingredient in this discussion. It has to do with money and draw. It is not about the best teams. They are looking at it from a sponsorship standpoint and a viewership standpoint. SMU versus Penn State was the lowest rated game, the second lowest to Lawrence Point, Indiana versus Notre Dame, a perennial name in college football. The highest rated, Oregon versus Ohio State. Big picture is they have to sell these games to sponsors. What teams are marketable?
They left Alabama out of the college football playoffs. Yeah. So to that point, if we're baking a cake, I did not leave out a key ingredient.
And I know that's a lot of their mindset is money. And that's why when I asked Matt Hayes the other day, what's the point? Like, why is SEC fighting so hard when they were talking about maybe getting they each get 4 spots or whatever? Bids. That's too much. But it's money, of course, because if you're guaranteed that, then you're having at least 4 teams that are guaranteed you getting money from those college football playoffs. So I know that's involved, but at the same time, if you want to grow the whole brand of college football, the best way to do that is get some of those small teams. Yeah, maybe the first couple years, you're not talking about them as much. 3 years ago, we probably weren't talking about Boise State that much, and then now
we were in the early 2000s.
Yeah, that's what a few years ago it wasn't. I mean, 2000s, yes. Then they were gone for a long time, and then you have someone like Ashton Jensen plenty who people wanted to see in the college football playoff. And so I do think that eventually, if you want to make teams marketable, you have to be able to watch them and learn about them, because I think that's part of growing the sport of college football. I get it's not going to bring you all the viewerships and the money that you want probably in the first couple rounds, but what it is doing is getting players that are being like, hey, that school has a chance to make the college football playoff. I can go start there. I don't have to go to Alabama. And then I have it, at least in my mind, I have a shot at making the college football
to that
playoff.
point, I think it gets the casual fan involved. The Cinderella story. The casual fan gravitates to that. How many casual fans are there versus diehard Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Georgia fans? I think there's more of them than there is a casual fan. And I also think...
But also that game was on a Friday night, the Indiana-Notre Dame game. Like, you want to put games in windows, and a lot
So
of the
maybe that's more of a
playoff
conversation.
games were opposite NFL, too. We know because we were in Vegas, which was great to have
It's 5
the
in
sports
Vegas,
book.
but it's 8 p.m. on a Friday night on the East Coast.
Right.
Like, that's not the most... Nobody's going to... On a Friday night, you're usually out and about and doing stuff and whatever, so the casual fan in that sense isn't going to watch it.
I also think that it's a good segue, this conversation specifically about TV and revenue and name recognition, to the NBA playoffs as they currently stand. Because, of course, as we alluded to yesterday, although now the New York Knicks have forced a Game 6 in Indianapolis tomorrow.
Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns, thanks for 36 minutes, 24 points, and 13 rebounds when we thought you might not play.
That's one ingredient that Lauren did not get right. But I think
there were reports out there. It's not like I know him.
Right. It was just, you said, hey, listen, and listen, we had a requiem for the Knicks yesterday with RJ here at 1010XL World Headquarters. But point being, the Indiana Pacers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. What sort of eyeballs will a matchup like that bring versus if the New York Knicks are in the NBA Finals for the first time since the 90s? It's a conversation that's going to be had. Ultimately, the decision of who will be there is not based off a committee. It's based off who wins the games. But at the same time, you look at last year's ratings with this perennial power that is the Boston Celtics, and the ratings still were low comparatively to years past.
I don't love the conversation of the Yankees need to be in the World Series for eyeballs, or the Dodgers. The Lakers or the Celtics need to be in the... Like, to me, if you love sports, you're going to watch it regardless. And I know that the TV networks are not worried about that. They're worried about the eyeballs. I totally get that. But as a sports fan, like, to me... It doesn't matter who's in it. We're all going to be obsessed with, once the finals get decided, we obviously know one of the teams in the Thunder, but we're going to watch, and it's going to be exciting drama. And it brings me to the hockey. I told everybody we're going to hear from Taylor's favorite person, Xavier Leggett. He was at a hockey game, and he had never been before, and it was hilarious.
Hey, I'm on the glass. Hey, you ain't tell me the hockey puck's come flying over here, man. Oh, boy, these folks going crazy, boy. Hey, yeah, they doing that thing. Boy, he got down there clothesline, boy, right in front of me, boy. What's my boy name from OKC with the Braves? Shea Alexander. He right there. He tough. Hell no. This my first time seeing this, boy.
So thankfully it was already edited, so I didn't have to make Dylan work too hard. But yeah, we've said this before. People think that he's from Louisiana because he sounds Cajun, but he's from South Carolina.
Deep South Carolina. Yeah, I love it. I love him so much. I tweeted that yesterday. I also sent it to me and Kevin because we have like a chain thread of pretty much just Jameis Winston and Xavier like videos and quotes. But I also, part of it, I was like, if I was sitting behind him, I would have probably enjoyed, because I love him, and I would have been chatting with him and wanting to, like, whatever. But that they were probably getting pretty annoyed because he kept standing and like they couldn't see.
You're
and
at a
like
game.
against. I know, but when you're on the glass, most people sit when you're on the glass unless you're like jumping to cheer when a goal is scored, because you need. There's not much view that you can actually see on an ice rink. But so that was my first thought, is that guy behind him was like kind of laughing, but you could tell he's also like, I'm trying to see around him.
Right. So the hockey last year, the Panthers won the first three. The Oilers, which we have a rematch, the Oilers won the next three. The Panthers obviously won their first Stanley Cup final. And then somehow, some way, the Oilers are favored. Like, riddle me that. I don't understand for this year.
I think that, and someone on the text line texted that in yesterday about how good the Oilers are this year. I honestly didn't watch them a ton. They have Connor McDavid, so you have the best hockey player right now, which is a big part of that. And I think that that's probably a lot of what they're leaning towards in that. But statistically, throughout the season, they're pretty even in almost every category. When it comes to wins, losses, when it comes to points scored, when it comes to saves, when it comes to all of those things, they're pretty even. So the only thing I can think of is just that head-to-head you have the best hockey player in hockey. Pretty
Second
much.
straight Stanley Cup for the Oilers. Third straight for the Panthers. I just think it comes down to the championship DNA, and I know that's cliche as all get out, but I just feel like the Panthers turn it on, and it's the same thing.
The Lightning.
It's the same thing, Lauren. We had the conversation yesterday in terms of most underrated, consistently successful professional sports franchises in the last 10 years. And we said the Chiefs, although the Chiefs probably don't fall in the underrated category, but in the same vein as the Chiefs, once upon a time, the Chiefs lost to an Antonio Pierce-led Las Vegas Raiders team at Arrowhead Stadium on Christmas Day. And then they turned it around and won the Super Bowl, and that's kind of the vibe I get from this Panthers team.
Yeah, to me, like the Panthers to me just have everything, and not saying the Oilers aren't close to that, but in a sense, I just think the Panthers are so fast. They play fast when they need to, and that's one of the things that I think has won them some of these games. But I also think maybe people are like, all right, well, they got pushed to a Game 7 in this playoff run already, so they're going up against an Oilers team that's really, really, really good, and so maybe that's kind of where they're leading those odds side of things. But I wouldn't be surprised and goes to 7.
I mean, also you tell me, like,
Series,
when you look at this look at this Panthers roster, they've all played together for how long? I mean, go down the list. Like Kachuk, he was traded when he was over. When he was Was he traded when he was like a young pup, or was he actually drafted?
I think he was drafted.
He was drafted by the Panthers. Okay, you never know. Sometimes when they get drafted when they're freshmen in college and then they re-enter the draft. Max knows. Max is keeping my stats and info for me.
My baseball team's down 6-0. I can't pay attention.
Oh, there we go. Barkov, Sam Bennett, Brad Marchand. Like, these are guys who have been there like forever, and that's. Yeah.
Which obviously adds a level. But yeah, this series I think will be really, really fun. I think that when you talk about the Florida Panthers, and we addressed it yesterday, when you say the Florida teams, the amount of times that Florida hockey teams have now gone to the Stanley Cup or won oh yeah,
they literally have to, especially the Floridians like us that aren't like Taylor much more than us, but like those native Floridians who are not really hockey fans. I literally think a Canadian would punch me in the face.
They're like, you started.
Even though I'm not like a diehard Lightning or Panthers.
You started playing 5 minutes ago. Like,
right.
This is not fair.
I remember, and this is not a shot at all at Amanda Borges because I love her so much. But when she got hired with the New York Rangers, I'll never forget when she told everybody on air, and they started kind of like quizzing her a little bit about what she knows, and they asked her if she knew what a 5-hole was, and it was just like dead silence. And I was like, she has a lot of stuff for learning.
Yeah,
like learning a whole other sport
Killing
like
it.
that when you haven't grown up around that whatsoever. It's hard, and there's a lot of hockey's fast, so you've got to keep up.
You got that right. All right, and in the next segment, we will chat with Joe McGuire. He's the general manager here as we are having a fantastic day on this Feel Good Friday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Taking your sports day into the night.
Guaranteed to give you unbelievable power.
Into the night with Rick Ballou.
That guy could be a movie star.
Then Hacker After Dark.
They happen to be the hottest thing in the country.
Evenings on 1010XL. Lee and Kate's Glass.
Friday on Helmets and Heels.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Where does Northeast Florida buy cars? Arlington Toyota. Why Arlington? Because of the selection. Arlington has over 800 new and used vehicles all in one location with everyday low prices. Over 350 SUVs, one location. Over 175 trucks, one location. Over 275 cars, you guessed it, one location. And guess what? There's more on the way. And here's 60 more reasons. Arlington's 60-day exchange program. It's so simple, folks. If you don't like your purchase, just bring it on back within 60 days and exchange it for another one. And here's even more reasons why. You choose a pre-owned 2023 Camry RAV4 or Tacoma for $0 down and just $388 per month. You can even choose no payments till January 2026. Yep, that's right. No payments until January 2026 at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Now, Arlington. Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter mile east of 295, or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to divorcemenonly.com. Divorcemenonly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and Triumph has branched off from on-road to off-road. Give us the latest on what they've got.
They've got the 250 and the 450. Rick Carmichael designed these bikes himself, and they are bad to the bone.
So you're talking about a really cool effect from a bike off-road that Triumph had on-road forever.
It is, and it's out there winning races, and it is fun to ride.
Check it out, Cycles of Jacksonville, their showroom on Atlantic near Regency, or online on their Facebook page.
Swing into the hottest party of the summer. Join First Tee Door Florida at the Yards on June 12th for the Summer Soiree Baja Beach Bash. We're bringing the vibrant spirit of Cabo San Lucas to the First Coast for an evening of family-friendly fun. Enjoy live music, craft cocktails, golf games, raffle prizes, and delicious Mexican-inspired cuisine from Taco Lu. Golf, fiesta, and philanthropy, all to support the impactful programs of the First Tee. Visit firstteenorthflorida.org/summer soiree to secure your tickets today.
This is Mike Lynch, PGA Golf Professional. Take it from me, if you're dealing with an orthopedic issue, talk to the doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros. Thanks to all of you who have allowed us to be part of your recovery. Call us at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists if you ever have a need.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball at the newly renovated Vistar Ballpark is your home for affordable family fun. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game and kids round the bases after Sunday games. Log on to jackshrimp.com for tickets and details. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
Hunters know patience is part of the game.
Just got to keep hunting.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Faber, and Captain Kirk Waltz on the Nimnicht Outdoors Show. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
When you're experiencing sudden, unexpected dental pain, the last thing you want to hear is that your dentist can't see you until next week. That's why I'm so glad I found Harbor Dental Care. Whenever I call, they always find a way to see me within 24 hours, and they can usually fix whatever's wrong the same day. Plus, they have locations throughout Jacksonville, so no matter what side of town I'm on, I can always count on the same great care. If you want to find a dentist who believes in treating people right, learn more at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Denny Thompson here. You got to check out Tyson's Showroom Home Theater with surround sound and comfy theater chairs. You can transform your living room into a cinematic experience. I can stay there to watch all my games. It's that comfortable. Call Tyson today and bring the theater experience home. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal. Pretty nice weather we're having, huh?
You think this is nice?
I mean, it's sunny, warm. We do live in Florida.
It's not all upside, Jason. Warm weather comes, so all the cool people hit the beach. My old air conditioner craps out, so it's 1,000 degrees inside, and I'm stuck on a video call in my underpants trying not to sweat through my...
Wait. Put these sunglasses on.
I'm not going to put on your...
Whoa. The air conditioning experts at Bueller Air and Plumbing can keep your home office cool and comfortable all summer long. You look good in your meeting, impress the big guy with your cool confidence, maybe finally make assistant deputy regional manager.
Wow, air conditioning can do that?
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend all summer worried the weather is going to be too nice, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Welcome back in. We are live here at Kia on Atlantic, out here towards Kernan Boulevard, the new location formerly known as Kia on South Side, and we are joined by General Manager Joe McGuire. Joe, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's share a little bit. I came to visit you earlier in the week, and we were chatting about this new location, which is absolutely gorgeous, and when you walk in, it's fantastic, but there's a lot of cool features here that were
I want rustlers, cutthroats, bounty hunters, desperados, nitwits, halfwits, dimwits, bushwhackers, hornswagglers, horse thieves, train robbers, bank robbers, ass kickers. I want
1010XL.
That's it. He's not bluffing. Consider it done.
It's a Helmets and Heels. B and Kate's Glass, Friday.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. Because all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, it only costs for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by November 6th.
Attention business owners and property managers. Hurricane season is right around the corner. Is your property ready? Call the pros at Duck Duck Rooter for expert storm drain cleaning and hydrojetting. Our powerful VACCON truck clears the way so your drains flow freely when the rain hits. Call 904-862-6769 today to schedule your service and protect your property before the storms start rolling in. Duck Duck Rooter, your trusted name in storm drain maintenance. Visit us at duckduckrooter.com. We are a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's the perfect day. You're just driving along, listening to your favorite music, the windows down. There's a cool breeze. Life is good. But wait, hold on a second. You're not wearing a seatbelt? You'd better put that on before that... Uh-oh, too late. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement, so you'd better buckle up or you will get caught. Sorry to ruin your day. Click it or ticket.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Prosser here. It's a great time to sell your home, and I got just the people to sell it for you. Spring selling season is here. Rates are down. Activity's up. Now's the best time in years to sell your home. Some homes are sitting on the market, though. Hiring an expert who can maximize your equity and minimize your hassle, that's the key. And I've been telling you who those experts are. Are you listening? I recommend Chad and Sandy Newman. Go to chadandsandy.com, the local real estate experts you can trust with the sale of your home. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. So whatever problems you think you have, I've got you this promise. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. There you go. Simple as that. Christopher on Anastasia Island. My home was too big for my needs. I wanted someplace smaller and easier to manage. I got multiple offers and sold in 3 days with Chad and Sandy. You can too at chadandsandy.com or 904-414-6200.
Don't miss the Bari Breakdown with Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays around 3:20 for the latest in sports injuries. From all the big names in the game, who's MIA, who's coming back from injury. Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays at 3:20.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Two classic
It's REO Speedwagon's High Infidelity. June 2nd, Daly's Place. Brotherhood of Rock Tour. Plus Don Felder, formerly of the Eagles. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. 2 classic albums in their entirety. Styx, The Grand Illusion, REO Speedwagon's High Infidelity. Don't miss the event of the summer.
Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jax Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jax Beach or visit apexroofingfl.com.
I'm Drew Scrimshire, president and publisher of the Jacksonville Business Journal. In business, timing is everything. That's why every morning at 8:15, our morning edition delivers the most important business news straight to the inboxes of Jacksonville's decision makers, executives, entrepreneurs, investors, and industry leaders. Want to know what the First Coast power players are reading before they start their day? Join them. Subscribe today to the Jacksonville Business Journal Morning Edition at bizjournals.com/Jacksonville.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Let's try this again. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we are back. We are still here at Kia on Atlantic, formerly known as Kia on Southside. This is now down a little further down Atlantic near the beach, close to Kernan. So a little bit more time, 30 minutes to come hang out with us. Lots of prizes. I mentioned it several times during the show, but we're giving away, Kia's giving away a couple free tire alignments, a couple free oil changes. We have some Jaguars tickets to that home opener against the Panthers. Also some tickets to see Live and Collective at Daly's Place. So swing by, 30 more minutes. We'll be here until 2 o'clock on Atlantic, but we mentioned a little bit off air and then because we cut out, but we were talking about some of the cool stuff that now this new Kia on Atlantic has, some of the upgrades when it comes to the service side and things like that. So share a little bit about some of the fun stuff that has been added here.
I think the big thing is when you walk in the facility, the wow factor, and how everything is 3 times the size. But our big thing is our service department, how you pull inside the building to get checked in for service, and our technicians where they work, and it's all enclosed, heated and cooled, all built-in toolboxes for them. Everything is uniform. The space inside the shop, the fans inside the shop, they are in awe of their new facility.
Yeah, we talk about the cars outside, which are also beautiful. I love the new Kias personally, but I'm sure it's a lot of people probably want to come work here to stay out of the heat or out of the cold in the wintertime. One of the features that I also think is cool, you talk about the drive-in where you drive your car straight into an air-conditioned kind of little area, and there's the tire center there where it automatically checks your tires. I thought that's cool because I think for someone that's not a car person, being able to have a visual of what exactly is going on with the car, but share a little bit about that side too.
Yeah, so when each customer pulls in, they come over our sensors and stuff that's in there when they pull in to get their car checked in for service, and it gives you your tire tread depth, it reads your alignment for your car and all that, and it gives a color printout for them to go over with the customer of their car. It has a picture of their car and their tag with them to go over everything with them.
Yeah, and so in addition to that, you walk in, there's screens too where they can see it up on the screen, they can find their car, all the information tells you exactly tire. So cool stuff like that here. So swing by. We'll be here in another 30 minutes. Kia on Atlantic. Lots of prizes we're giving away. Come say hey. Check out the new showroom. It's beautiful. I do want to chat before we let you go a little bit about the Jaguars. The Hunt came out last night. A lot about Travis Hunter and the process of bringing him to the Jags. So what do you think about that?
It was a neat behind the scenes look at our new general manager and of course our VP of personnel, whatever, Baselli, and then our new coaching staff. Kind of neat to see a group that was all, they seem very much so on the same page and all going in the right direction, which I think we need.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't think we had that before?
No, I think,
is that new?
I think there was a little disconnect between the staff previous.
So I got to tell the Heeligans, Joe McGuire, of course, the general leader here at Kia on Atlantic, you have been billed as one of the biggest super sports fans with ties to 1010XL. Explain to us how you come to Jacksonville and your sports fandom here.
Well, I moved to Jacksonville with my family when I was young, so I've been here most of my life. But I grew up going to Mets games when I was about 5 years old.
You and Dan Hicken could be friends.
Yes. When I see him, I always mention the Mets. So that's it.
Yes. So we started with the Mets, and then when any other sports, and of course you're I hear are pretty darn good athletes too.
Yes, my daughter is a college athlete. She's a gymnast at Southern Utah University. She's very proud of her. She is wanting to get into the sports broadcasting world as well. But I've been a Jags fan since we were awarded the franchise. Still a fan, and good and bad. So I'm hoping for good this year, as I think all of us are. But I've been an Islanders fan, been a Commanders fan. I still say Redskins.
But yeah, it's hard to switch that.
Yeah, it's hard. But my whole family were Giants fans growing up. I was a Redskins fan, so I was the oddball of the group on that far.
All right, Joe.
Sorry, real quick, Taylor. Gymnastics. What is your daughter's best event?
Oh yeah, that is Lauren's thing. So
I know we can't let Joe go without diving into gymnastics. This is helmets and heels.
Hold the horses,
please. It's hard to say.
Okay.
I think bars and floor are her two favorites, but she does vault as well. So this will be her junior year, and they actually went to the NCAAs, both her freshman and sophomore year, and won their conference championship her first 2 years as well. So now they have to keep that going.
And Southern Utah versus Florida, that's what it came down to?
No, I wish. They got knocked out the round before. We thought they were going to compete with Florida in the second round. And she has two teammates that compete for Florida, so that would have been great.
But the recruitment, right? Like when she decided where to go?
Came down to, more Clemson and SUU, but Florida was a thing to go be a manager with Jenny Rowland.
Got it.
And she decided, no, I'm going to compete.
I love it.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the Southern Utah campus, because I think I speak for most of the Heeligans.
She loved it when she went there immediately.
Yeah. She loved the coaching staff the second she met them. The campus is amazing. Her practice facility, one wall is all glass that overlooks the football facility that's sat down below it. The other is Red Rock Mountain. So it's beautiful.
Pretty view.
It's beautiful.
It was funny because I feel like you two should watch a gymnastics meet together, because he said he's very vocal, and I asked Joe, I said, how good are you at scoring? Because Lauren will come back and be like, no, it should have been a 9-9, and they gave him this, and he said he's the same way.
Yeah,
so
the judges are not always right.
No, they're not, and I get in trouble with my wife about that. So.
I get it. When I played soccer my freshman year of high school, I wasn't a starter yet, and I remember vividly my parents being upset, specifically my dad being upset. He's like, you should be starting, and I was like, well, I'm not saying anything. Like, my coach is, that's her decision, whatever. And so it's the same, like, you believe in your kid so much, and when the judges don't give the score, and yes, it's subjective, we all understand that, but when they don't give the score you think they deserved, it can be frustrating, especially with the new rules as far as like vault. They have to stay there for 3 seconds. If they move at all on the landing before 3 seconds, they get a deduction. Well, that rule just came into the rule book last year. The entire time you've trained as a collegiate gymnast until last year,
you have one thing in your mind and you have to flip it.
Right,
Yeah.
and so
What was the previous rule of that?
I want to say it was only like a second and a half or 2 seconds, something like that.
Which is a long time. In that,
it's still a long time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a hard transition for all of them.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right, Joe, well, us out here. If you are listening and you're driving around, come swing by and say hello to us at Kia on Atlantic. We still have some things to give away, some tire alignments, some free oil changes, and some Jaguars tickets.
Thank you all for having me.
Thank you so much.
All right, Dylan, let's cool down.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
I feel like it was a missed opportunity to pitch Joe our Football Brooks rankings when it comes to our solution to the College Football Playoff Committee. Should it be a committee? Should it be subjective? Because clearly with the gymnastics and the metrics and the systems that are used for scoring, maybe Joe is the answer. Maybe we need him on the Brooks Committee.
If Southern Utah gets in, he's happy. As long as their metrics qualify, he'll be fine with it.
I do love how I was like, it's a man's name. What is it called?
And I sometimes I feel like just have a blank slate, like off air, I feel like I can come up with stuff much faster. Like if you ask me, we've had this conversation. If you ask me on air, like what is your favorite Zach Brown Band song? My mind like doesn't come up with them.
Yeah.
You ask me off air, I can rattle through 200 of them.
Well, it's like your best thinking's in the shower. Let's be real here.
For sure.
Across the board, or when I'm eating Cheez-Its, I like to say.
Cheez-Its, yeah. Maybe that's why there's so many Cheez-Its at the radio station.
Yes, everyone feels the same way.
Yeah, I'll cool down with the fact that I had to stop watching the baseball game because Florida is getting just absolutely destroyed. Last I checked, because like I said, I stopped watching. Florida was down 7-0 to East Carolina, and actually now it's worse. I really should have stopped watching. It's now 9-0. So Florida clearly is not going to come back and win this.
Different topic before we get to today's Terminex Pest of the Day. I sent this to you guys. Our friend Dimitri Ravanos of OG Triangle Media, of course, Barrett Sports Media as well, hosts a Panthers podcast, so I sent it to him too. This notion, I want to cool down with this, although I feel like it's going to be heating up. This notion that the Carolina Panthers will once again catch lightning in a bottle because so many stars have aligned and they will go to the Super Bowl is fascinating to me. So, certainly, we've heard a time or two here in Jacksonville since the schedule was released that the 2 times the Carolina Panthers have gone to the Super Bowl, they opened the season in Jacksonville with a win over the Jags. So file that away. That happened in 2002 and in 2014. Did not realize that also in 2002 and 2014, Ohio State, a national champion in college football, in a season prior that the Carolina Panthers had a losing record before going to the Super Bowl. So
yeah, that 2014-2015 Ohio State team, do you remember that's when they lost their opening game to Virginia Tech and everybody thought they were done for, and then they ended up winning the national championship.
And of course, the Panthers, I believe, were 6-7-1 the season prior to going to the Super Bowl in 2015. This is the one, though, that now I'm like, and look, the Jags play in the AFC, so like you can root for them too, folks, outside of the Week 1 matchup, Jaguar fans. J-Lo filed for divorce prior to the 2 Super Bowl appearances by the Carolina Panthers. First from Chris Judd in 2002, then from Mark Anthony in 2014, and now, yet again, second time, another divorce from Ben Affleck. Honestly, once I saw that stat, I'm all in on the Panthers being the NFC representative in the Super Bowl. I think this is fantastic content.
I saw the odds. The Jaguars' odds, as far as the best odds for who the Jaguars would play in the Super Bowl, obviously not great odds, but you can take a guess as to the team if you'd like. It is an NFC team, obviously, but not the Panthers. Yeah, it is the Eagles.
Yeah,
which makes perfect sense because they just won.
They have
the
to,
Super Bowl.
I'm guessing, would have the best odds right now, unless they just go Kansas City because it's Kansas City. But I feel like usually that the Super Bowl, the reigning Super Bowl champ is usually those betting odds, at least right now in this point in time.
Yeah, I had friends in 2022 place a bet on the Jags winning the AFC South. And obviously that was not expected because of the season prior. In 2021, we all know what happened with Urban Meyer. And so, yeah, won that bet. Was a good one. Maybe we should place some bets somewhere in Vegas.
Speaking of that, did you guys see the thing where the person bought the spell from Etsy to get the Knicks to win a game? I sent it to, okay, so I saw this earlier. I didn't hear Dan and Jeff talking about this, so I sent it to Dan, and he was show. So somebody paid a witch on Etsy to cast a spell to help the Knicks win.
No way.
Knicks won.
No way.
I was like, they better go pay another $8.48 to get the Knicks to win another game.
You can hire a witch on Etsy? Well, that's like, let's focus on that for a second before we get to the curse that she placed or the conjuring of spells, the voodoo.
I guess they have
good to
everything
know.
on Etsy.
Good to know. You can get a witch on Etsy.
Have y'all seen Hocus Pocus enough to remember the song that they sing? Okay, so the song
Put a spell on you.
I put a spell on you. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so I was, because I texted him, and Dan was like, I was talking about that this morning, and he writes back, he goes, I'm afraid we're going to be kicking ourselves for a long time over that Game 1 loss. We've been thinking about it since it happened, and I was like, yeah, someone must have bought an Etsy spell to make that ball bounce up 10 feet and then land back.
Yeah, exactly. That's certainly possible there for the Pacers. All right, time now for today's Terminex Pest of the Day. The Terminex crew, they are unbelievable. Have them come to your house or your place of business. They take care of Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, and ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Was there last night. Had a great time seeing Tyler Childers. Also, if you have any mosquito issues, which most of the time these days you do with this heat, they will handle that as well. You can find them online at Terminix.com, TERMINIX.com. All right, this is a serious one. Astros Lance McCullers Jr. is one of 2 Major League Baseball pitchers whose families have received online death threats this month as internet abuse of families and players is on the rise. Boston Red Sox reliever Liam Hendricks took to social media after the incident with McCullers to call out people who are threatening his wife's life and directing vile comments at him. Okay, we've had this conversation before, and yes, the internet, and especially Twitter, can be a dark place. Say what you want to say as far as you don't think someone's performance is good or what have you. By all means, we disagree on sports all the time. That's what makes this job fun. Do not, under any circumstances, threaten someone's life or threaten someone's family's life over sports. You shouldn't do it in general, but especially over sports. If they're not performing well, the story goes on to say Lance McCullers' daughter ended up hearing the conversation he had with his wife, and she was like asking him questions, Dad, why do people want to kill us and things like that. Like, that's a 5-year-old little girl. Like I said, it's a serious topic, and it just really infuriates me.
The fact that we have commercials now during NCAA college sporting events where it says, basically, don't be a jerk, don't bet on a college sport, and then go after these student athletes.
Of course.
I think you're going to see more of those. And, the fact that we're there as a society.
It's horrendous.
Be better. Be better, people.
It's something that when you go back to Players' Championship, when we had, what was his name?
Dan
Rappaport on, and we were talking about the golf betting and how everything's kind of coming to, and how they are worried about the hecklers in golf, because obviously that close interaction that you get when you're watching golf there live, and then the golfers, and how we didn't really talk about the serious side of that part of it. We talked more so is that going to affect, right when they're in their backswing and someone screams something just because they have a bet on another golfer to win or whatever the case may be. But in that circumstance, it's very close where they could easily say something where very inappropriate or a threat or whatever it may be. And so I do think that we've gotten to this world where people are just, especially because of the social media and things that people can say without any consequence on the internet, they feel like they can, which that's not even right either, but they feel like they can bring that into real life sometimes. And we've seen a lot of, we see guys miss field goals and then get death threats because they missed. It happened to Cody Park. He had to move out of Chicago because of it. And I hate stuff like that. It's devastating. And it's just that's where you have to separate sometimes. This is a sport. This is not your livelihood. Let's act appropriately.
It's their livelihood, as a matter of fact. You are just a fan watching at home. By the way, Florida did get on the board with a solo home run. I'm going to need more than that, obviously, but by Brendan Lawson. I especially feel like, to your point, Mia, with college athletes, professionals can handle it, even, not the death threats part, but they can handle the criticism, the verbal abuse that shouldn't happen, but it's going to. But when they're college student athletes, and yes, more college athletes for some of these people than student athletes, but that's when it's they're 18. Some of them, honestly, are even younger than that. We saw, didn't Ryan Williams turn 18 during the season, college football season this year with, the Alabama receiver? Either way, let's get it back to sports. The 49ers have added 3 former Jets just in the span of the last week under Robert Saleh because they just traded for Bryce Huff. So they've now added defensive end Bryce Huff, punter Thomas Morstead, and linebacker Chaz Surratt.
Yeah, listen, we did an episode of Duval Rundown last week with our friend Will Parkinson, and, the comments and the feedback from the listeners as we're discussing what team could go from worst to first. They were begging us to discuss the San Francisco 49ers. I don't even discuss them because I think it's inevitable that they will be in the playoff conversation with Robert Saleh as the DC reunited with Kyle Shanahan. Certainly Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy, now armed with a new contract, feel like they have something to prove. It's as competitive a division as there is in the NFL. But yes, they're going to be a factor because they evolve and they also know what works, not just with the sport of football, but with each other. And so I'm very fascinated to see what happens. At the same time, though, as we've been critical on this show, too, this is not your grandmother's 49ers defense from 2019. They do not have the treasure trove of riches along the defensive front that they did when they went to the Super Bowl for the first time in the last 10 years. And obviously, yes, they did spend their first 3 draft picks on defensive linemen, but they're all rookies.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a big part of it when you look at they have a lot of youngness on their defense, and for a while I do feel like you had a lot of guys who had played together in critical moments, and so that obviously adds a little extra level, especially in those big games, and that helped them a lot. But it looks at this moment that they're going to be starting 3 rookies on their defense, a linebacker, a defensive end, and a defensive tackle, all rookies, and then they've added a couple other pieces when it comes to an undrafted guy too that they're going to be counting on, and then you're just hoping that I mean, when it comes to Brock Purdy, that Brock Purdy is what some people feel he can be. I'm not even going to say everybody, because I think there are people that kind of question what level Brock Purdy can actually play on. How much was it surroundings? How much is it Brock? And we'll see that. This year is going to tell us that more than probably any year. Despite last year having injuries, this year it's more so, you have Brandon Ayuk, but it's Ricky Pearsall, who I also just saw he tweaked his hamstring yesterday, and so he's going to be out until training camp now. So we'll see how ready he is to get going.
Good time to do it, though, if it's going to happen.
Now, yeah,
may as well have, because you're not going to rush back from that this time of year. So at least with those soft tissue injuries, that can happen.
Him and Caitlin Clark both. It's okay, folks.
Yeah. Well, hers is quad.
Yeah,
that's
still,
hamstring.
yeah.
So opposite sides of the leg. But yeah, Mia, I know you were speech and debate. Were you watching the spelling bee live last night?
I actually was not.
Have you seen the video?
I have not. No.
Okay, so we're gonna play the sound, but do me a favor, y'all. Go back and watch the video of this young man winning the spelling bee last night. But first, I want everyone to hear the word in which he wins. And by the way, he was a runner-up the prior year, but last night he won the entire thing. Dylan, take it away.
Hello, Dr. Bailey.
Hi, Faison. So if you spell this next word correctly, we will declare you the champion of the historic 100th year of the Scripps National Spelling Bee. Now, let's all of us take a deep breath.
Yes.
And
That did not help at all.
Bro.
Smile.
Well, a certain pacing would help to follow.
Yeah.
Okay. Your word is éclaircissement.
Éclaircissement. ECLAIRCISSEMENT. Éclaircissement.
That is correct.
So you can hear him. He's out of breath. He falls down as soon as he finishes the letter T. He gets so excited that he just basically faints on stage. I've never heard that. I've never heard that word. I thought it was unbelievable.
I don't
that he
think
knew how
it's
to spell
English.
it.
I was like, okay.
It sounds French, but I feel like it has to be English.
It's interesting that you call upon my speech and debate background, because I feel like, because I used to watch the Scripps National Spelling Bee as a kid. Not a surprise that I would idolize those children and want to be that nerd. But
by the way, it means a clearing up of something obscure.
Oh, interesting. Good to know. Point being, a lot of the kids that are in the spelling bee are not very good on camera. They're not very good on stage. They just know the spelling of a lot of words. Yeah. So it's not entirely a surprise to me.
You've got to watch the video. It's literally classic. I won the spelling bee in 5th grade, and I always say that because that means I lost it in 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. So one time I won it.
At least you have one.
Yes, at least I have one.
Spelling is not my forte.
That's okay. We work in sports talk radio, so we just have to know words that relate to sports lingo. Quick update on the softball, the Women's College World Series. Everyone knows Texas beat Florida yesterday 3-0. Oklahoma, we were talking about this on a break. Oklahoma was down 3-1 yesterday in the 7th. And Tennessee thinks, probably for a second, we're actually going to get out of here with a victory over a really good Oklahoma team. And then Oklahoma walks it off with a 3-run home run to win 4-3. Yeah. So tomorrow we have Texas-Oklahoma at 3 o'clock.
That thing was gone, too.
So gone. Yeah, she hit a bomb. Tonight we have the elimination game, Florida-Tennessee at 7 o'clock. And then on the other side of the bracket, Texas Tech beat Ole Miss 1-0, and UCLA beat Oregon 4-2. So tonight we have the elimination game between Ole Miss and Oregon. And tomorrow night we have Texas Tech, UCLA at 7 o'clock.
And on the baseball front, Aaron on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, wants you to know,
yes,
Lauren, Florida baseball just got 2 runs back. There is still a chance. Maybe it's because you weren't watching.
Yes, that's why I stopped watching, because we've scored since I have stopped watching. I did know earlier, I saw that Georgia-Binghamton was in a weather delay, so I don't know if they've resumed play. That game was supposed to be starting the same time Florida was at noon. And then Florida State, of course, goes against Bethune-Cookman today at 3 o'clock. So for all you Noles fans, be tuning in. The other game in the Tallahassee Regional is Mississippi State Northeastern. That one's at 7:30. And then all the Miami fans, you take on Alabama at 3 p.m. in baseball in the Hattiesburg Regional. The other part of that regional, Southern Miss and Columbia take on tonight at 7 p.m. Taylor, Mia, of all these cities that are hosting super regionals, which one would you live in? Nashville, Austin, Hattiesburg, Los Angeles, Tallahassee, Oxford, Corvallis, Oregon, Athens, Chapel Hill, Baton Rouge, Eugene, Clemson, Conway, Knoxville, Auburn, or Fayetteville? Which one? You only get to pick one.
It sticks out to me is Nashville, obviously.
Okay. Yep.
Austin, I think, is really cool. I heard there's a really good music scene in Austin
Yes.
and a comedy scene in Austin.
Okay.
So, I don't know much else about that. So those two stuck out to me.
Austin is my pick, but let's see what Joe Cowart's pick is.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Joe C., I think I know the answer, but repeat, Lauren, again, those super regional sites.
Nashville, Austin, Hattiesburg, Los Angeles, Tallahassee, Athens, Baton Rouge, Eugene, Clemson, Conway, Knoxville, Auburn, and Fayetteville.
Well, I was when I first saw Conway, I'm like, where the hell is Conway? I couldn't help it. I just didn't.
Like, that's where Florida's playing.
Yeah, it did not register for me right away when I first saw it. Keep in mind, I was coming off the ship and I had the drink package,
True.
but still,
That's true.
I knew that that it was going to be away from Gainesville. Anyway, that one is not going well for Florida. I think we all know that based on those listening on 1010. Because East Carolina, just give them all the credit in the world, man. They just jumped right on the Gators, chased the first pitcher before the end of the second inning, and then just poured it on. And yeah, so you're telling me we got a chance if it's 9-2. What is it, going into the fifth?
Yeah, they chased the second pitcher, too. I know that Blake Rowland was in last I saw, but I had to stop watching, Joe, because, we were losing 9-0 at that point in time. All right, what are y'all getting into today?
We're going to stay in the college world, and we were mentioning the coaches' rankings yesterday, and we just never really got to it. So Connor O'Gara, Saturday Down South, he'll jump on. He puts his rankings out annually, and so, of course, the discussion is where is Billy Napier among the others, but we will definitely dig into that. Of course, we got some stuff heading into the weekend coming out of last night's action. The association, the Knicks, made it interesting again, and they certainly cured the Tyrese Halliburton headache that they had. So anyway, we'll jump in on that. Some Jaguar talk after the hunt came out last night, so plenty to do.
Yeah, Billy Napier should be ahead of a guy like Lane Kiffin. Maybe Brian Kelly after last season.
No.
Yeah, we shall see. All right, thanks, Joe.
All right, thank you.
All right, Taylor, any prizes we have left?
Yeah, so a little bit more time. If you are driving by and you're close enough to swing on in, still we are giving away 2 free tire alignments here at Kia on Atlantic, 2 free oil changes. We have tickets to the Jaguars home opener against the Panthers and tickets to see Live and Collective Soul at Daly's Place. So I'll be here for a little bit longer lingering. So if you want to swing by and try and win some stuff, we've still got some.
Maybe test driving a car?
Yeah, look at a new car too.
There we go. All right, that'll do it for us today. Dylan Denmark, thank you so much for filling in for RJ Saunders, for Taylor Dahl, for Mia O'Brien, for our engineer Max Fink. I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you on Monday, but don't go anywhere. XL Primetime comes up next.
Play by